Mainly tonight, I may be going over ground that some of you know. Hopefully, you'll pick up a few things along the way. But John was on to me 2 weeks ago, I think it was, wanting me to look at doing rivets. And I thought, well, there's not much fun in doing rivets. But I found a few little hints and tips along the way that you may or may not know. So let me share a screen with you. What I'm showing there is basically a very rudimentary boiler on a tank engine. It's not meant to represent any particular one. The idea was that we had a cylinder to work with. And you can see what I've done now. I've put 2 rows of rivets around the end of the boiler. So what I'm going to go through tonight is a way of doing rivets, because it can generate a lot of components or bodies which can get in the way. So hopefully I might be able to pass on to you some little ideas that you may find helpful. So before I do that, I want to look at patterning. I know the last time we looked at it with Malcolm was when we done the button by button, and that was just straightforward patterning. So let's put an item on the screen, and as I say, this is purely for technique showing rather than anything else. So we have we have that on the screen, and we want to pattern it. So what we can do is we want to, let's say, put them in a circle, so we can create, and we can come down to our pattern command, and we'll do a circular pattern, and I'll select that body, and I'll select that axis, and let's put 4 of them there. And great, we've got our 4 patterns, our pattern of 4 bodies. Now, I might want to edit them, so I go in to extrude and extrude. That's not what I wanted, and that's the result you will get, because I want all 4 to change. Because you can imagine if we had rivets and you got 50 of them and you suddenly want to change the design, you don't want to go around 50 rivets changing the design. So let's just go back a step, and what we do is that we need now to convert that body to a component and assemble. I haven't got the full assembly there. Now, something else that you may not have yet, it depends whether you've updated, but recently, within the last update, Autodesk have changed the way they do things. And when you create, let me create a new drawing so you can see what I mean. You come up with this help. You can do forget the bottom 3, I'm not doing those. Part design, assembly design, or hybrid. The part design is really designed for designing parts that you'll use elsewhere. The assembly section is really for when you start to assembling the various parts that you've got. Both of these we can go into in more detail on a later session. The hybrid one is what you're all used to before this update. So if we click into hybrid, and then we can create the new drawing. Now the problem is, my drawing I've set up in preferences to automatically go to part, and that therefore I don't have the new container under assemble or under create. It's vanished. What I can do therefore is to go up in here, let me find which one it is, part design, click on the edit button, and over here then I can change it from a part design into my hybrid, and the top toolbar will change. So I go into hybrid, convert, and now you see I've got a nice pile of stuff under assembly. Just chuck that one in as we go, because that was an update which has only happened, I think it was since Christmas or just before Christmas, which tends to throw you. So if you do have that update and you're creating a new drawing, then if you choose hybrid, you'll be exactly the same as you were in the sense of layout and what you can do before the update. So anyway, let's go in and create a part here. New component. And we've got one selected. And we can leave at component 1. And there we have it there. Now, it's gone off because it's active. We've got to get it back on again. So what we need to do is to go back up to the top one there, look. Click on that to make the whole drawing active, then you can see it again. So what we're going to do now is go back into patterning. Pattern, and we'll stick with our circular pattern. And this time we're not if you choose a body, what you'll end up doing is choosing the body that's within that component, not the component. And we will, I'm not going to do it, you'll have to take my word for it. But if we leave that up bodies and click on it and do a pattern, it will be the same as what we done earlier with the bodies, that you can't edit one and have it flowed over to the others. So we choose the component, select the component, oh, hang on a minute, what am I doing?
Try wrapping the cursor around it, see if that picks up the component, Russ.
What have I done? Oh, because the component's not active, that's why, I think. Yeah, where was I going? Create, back to pattern, circular pattern, faces, components. Oh, it's broke already. Bear with me. Why is it broke already? Oh, I'll right click on it instead. We lost new component. What bodies? Oh, this has gone weird. I think that's it.
Russ, do you have to convert that body to a component first? Because it's still only a body at the moment.
Yeah, I'm hoping now it will work actually. Let's give it a whirl. Now if we go into, if not, I've got one I've done earlier. Pattern, circular pattern, components, one selected, axes there, and we'll put 4 in. Okay? And they're all showing skeleton, because we have to go back up to this setting and click that dot. Now, with a bit of luck, when we click on that and do extrude, they will all extrude, okay? And of course, the other side of the coin with this one is that if you do sketch on that one, and let's say for the sake of argument, we'll just shove that in the middle of it, and then we punch a hole through, the hole goes through all of them. So that's just a little bit to show that what you really have to do if you're doing patterning with bodies, that you want to end up maybe editing that body and edit one and have it flow to the others, is you have to convert that body to a component, okay? So with that in mind, we'll move on now to our boiler thing. And we'll create a hybrid design, and we'll shove in our body like so, and just create a cylinder of it so we've got something to work with. Okay, now the first thing is to create the body, which is the rivet in this particular example. It could be anything, I'm just using rivets as an example. So the way I do it, then I will go up to construct, and I will do a tangent plane, and then I can do a tangent plane. Let's just look at the right side of it, just click on the body, and I've created a tangent plane which I can now draw on. So it's now going down to sketch, pick up that plane, making sure you do pick up that plane and not one of the other ones. I can now draw on that, so let's zoom in and draw my rivet. Now my rivets are normally 0.5 millimeter. I come up with that size on 00 gauge because the printer can handle them and you can actually see them then when they're done. But I think on this one we'll make it a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on here. Let's make it 2 millimeters and finish the sketch. Now I can extend that out thus, but what I want to show you, if I do that, see how we have a gap there, because of course the plane has been on a tangent to the drum and I've drawn on the plane. So of course you're not having it touching the drum. Now you need it touching it, otherwise you're going to be in a mess later on. So let me just go back a bit. And what I do with this one, because of what I'm putting it on, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to extrude it. And I've extruded the one, and I'm going to go symmetrical, and I'm going to bring it out by, let's say, 2 millimeters. And not join, new body, you can go straight to new component there. And that gives us a new component. I'm not really worried about this bit in here because it's a solid drum anyway. So let's suppose that's the part I want. And we click OK. I can now go and let's put a fillet on it. Now I know it doesn't look much like a rivet, but bear with me. So what we're going to do now is pattern it. Now what we can do first of all is we can go back here, and the idea now is to copy. So I'm going to copy that component. Sorry, let's make sure you're in components. Copy it. Create copy, and you can measure it. I'm just going to pull it over for now. So there's our 2 components. Next thing now is to pattern them around the drum. So but with that one, what I'm going to do for that is create a pattern on a path. Components again, make sure that is on components. Select 1, select 2, select the path, and I'm going to make them, let's say 5 millimeters. Well, no, let's have more than 5 millimeters. We'll be here all day otherwise. 10 millimeters apart, okay? And I want them going all the way around. We want that as the spacing, and then just pull them. Don't pull them, sorry. Increase the number in there. Let's say 50. Too many. Went round, right round and back again. 5,000, too many. 40. 35. Oh, blimey, keep putting noughts in there. Right, I'll leave it at 30. As I say, it's to show you, you can work out the maths yourself. And now I have a nice double row of rivets. Well, are they a nice double row of rivets? Not really, because all I've done is patterned the same component all the way round in the same orientation, which is not what I want. So we can go back down the timeline, right click on it and edit pattern. And this time what I want to do, not identical, I want it path direction. And you can see now, they're now at a right angle tangent, if you like, from the path. So there I have all my rivets. But of course they're far too big. So I need to edit them. And I've done it on purpose so we can see the editing. So what I can now do is I can pick on one of them, say that one there. I can go there and delete it. I can then extrude it back again, and I'm going to take it all the way back to about there. I'm then going to put our chamfer back on. And if you notice, they're all changing. So now they've all changed. Now, if I had another row of rivets over this side or along, which had been made from the same component, they would all change as well. If I wanted to I don't know, let's say I click on there and I do an extrude, and I want to take that center bit in to make a little hole in, they all change. So when you're doing this sort of thing, it's components to work with, not with bodies, okay? Let's get rid of that a minute so we're back to our rivets. Now, what you can see now, of course, is that, blimey, we got you can't get rid of these because they're individual components and they got to go in the timeline. But you can imagine now how the timeline can get so big and so complicated that you can't really see what's in there. So what we need to do is have some way of combining these. Now, I'm hoping this is going to work. So what I'm going to do now is go into Assemble, New Component, and I'm going to just click OK. And that's put me a new component at the bottom. Go back up to the top and switch it back on again so you can see all of them. And then highlight, whoops, don't want to be over here. Highlight all of them, which I'm using shift click, and then very carefully you click, hold the left mouse button down and pull them in and drop them on that component there. And they're all in that one. They're all there, but when they were there on their own, you couldn't collapse them because they were in the main part of the tree. But by putting them in this blank component, it means you can collapse them and get them out the way, because otherwise you could have bits everywhere. Now what you'll also notice is what that's done, as a side effect, is it's actually generated a timeline entry for every single rivet. So that's a pain in the neck as well. So the answer to this one is to go up to the end. Am I at the end? Yeah. Click on that one. Shift click on that one to select them all. Right click, create group. And therefore what you've got now, all those rivets are in that group there, which you can expand anytime you like or shrink it back again. But it means that instead of having every rivet with its own reference in the tree and its own reference down here, you've got them in groups, because once they're there, you probably won't want to do anything else with them, but you can get back at them to adjust them or change them.